Hello everyone, this is a live stream and this evening I'm just going over quiz 3 that's due this weekend and also memo number 1. And I finally to prepare for the memo number 2 due this weekend. Okay, so and again I do have a chat room, and so if anyone has any questions, that has been, I think that has worked out extremely well lately for the chat room, and so I encourage people to use the chat room. So let's let me bring it up. There it is. There we go. Okay. So first of all, let's bring up Canvas. Bringing up Canvas, and so in Canvas under the syllabus here, let's go ahead and pull up the syllabus. I already have this open here. Okay, let's see here. So I need to correct my corrections, huh? Homework 2, it looks like regrade mark 11 and 12 wrong. Could we look at those? Absolutely. Good, I'll look at 11 and 12. Good. We'll start with that. And so I guess I could go to the syllabus, but then again, everyone is probably quite familiar with what we're doing here. Let's see here. Here we go. In other words, quiz 3 is due this weekend and memo 2. So I was going to go over quiz 3, and then I was going to go over memo 1 to prepare for quiz 2, memo 2. But let's go back to homework number 2, and let's go ahead and start with that and clean that up. I regraded it, and I went through and graded everything. I posted the answers. I'll look at 11 and 12. But then I realized what happened is that I had it all ready to go. When I posted it, the incomplete one was posted somehow. Anyway, so that's that. Things like that do happen. Okay, so let's pull up homework 2, and let's see. Let's check homework number 2. There we go. Answers 11 and 12. Let's just go right to the 11 and 12 and check this out. Let's see, which pollutant has its mentate exceeded the greatest? Okay, now this one, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go through all the homeworks one by one, and if you got question 11 wrong, I'll give it to you right, because someone may got it right, technically exceeded the greatest, mandate exceeded the greatest. Well, this is less than, so none of them so we are minimizing the cost. So the exceed the greatest should be what? Should be 3. You know. In other words, on the other hand, did you exceed the minimum? Yes, you did. And so, you know, it's poorly worded. It's hard to understand what's happening here. But technically, number 3 should be the answer. And so let me write that down. Is everyone with me on this one? So so C should be the answer. Let's see, homework 2, question 11, go from E to C. But it's poorly worded because you're exceeding the minimum. It's the minimum, but some people would say, okay, well, this is a reduction. You're trying to reduce it. So if you're exceeding the minimum, that means you didn't reduce it. But if you're exceeding the minimum, maybe you reduced it below the minimum, and it's confusing. I got to change this wording because it is confusing. I just wanted to know which one was the greatest surplus. Okay, this kind of thing, because we did go above 16. Number 12 here. There again. Are these correct? let's see here. I think so. I don't know how. Oh, let's see here. I can't believe there's so many. This is really kind of annoying. And I don't like this. I'm going to be very careful on the homeworks and double and triple and quadruple check these things. Okay, homework 2, 11 and 12. Yeah, B for some reason, I don't know why C was it. Don't know. Okay, and then question 12, it's going to go from C to B. Okay, so let's bring these down and then say in the chat room, on number 12, I'm going to change it from C to B and regrade it, and B should be the correct answer. This one up here on 11, C is the correct answer, but to me, I think it's poorly worded, and so if everyone got C, that's fine. I'll regrade it to C. But if anyone put E or something else, I'll just go ahead and give it to you. I think it's a really poorly worded question. I got to change that for next time. Okay, so I think everyone understands what's going on with this. Does that sound good? Also, another thing I want to mention on this environmental compliance, notice this is minimizing the cost of complying with the minimum. And so you could, and if you are a larger company, if you're a larger company, and on this Washita River, there are other, it could be like a river, it could be an inlet, it could be anything. It could be air, it could be the air kind of a compliance, of environmental compliance. If you can increase this 16 to maybe 18 and have extra, you can sell carbon, you can sell it on the stock exchange. So you might want to have different kind of credits. Anyway, and this is part of sustainability, and this one goes right into sustainability to comply, but also goes into sustainability today for interim of selling carbon credits. Anyway, that's a different subject, and maybe someone's going to get into that with projects. Okay, I have a question here. Yeah, if there's anything, if this is okay, fine. If not, speak up. Also, I have a question here. You can see, can you explain 5 and 6? So let's back up to 5 and 6. Absolutely. Let's see here. Okay, on this one, let's see here. Gail suggested, product X, there must be 2 product Y. You can do this 2 ways. In other words, add an extra constraint, and that extra constraint would necessarily be 2x equals y. Just add that constraint in there and then redo it. Okay. Well, 2xy, you bring the x, bring an x and y to the left-hand side, and that's going to be, well, I can say minus 2x plus y equals 0. I'll do it that way. And then when you solve it down here, and I think this one was right, without this constraint, it comes out to be 1212. With the constraint, it comes out to be 1200. So the difference between those, and notice I say, what is the reduction in profit at the LP solution with the constraint suggested by Gail? Well, the reduction in profit goes from 1212 to 1200, so that it's going to be reduced by 12 is all. So it's not that big of a difference when you're talking about $1,200. Okay, and then number 6 here, and when I went over this with the lecture and the homework and getting ready for this homework, I said the best way to do these is actually take the problem in Excel and actually change it a little bit and see if these are true, see if these are right. In other words, let's bring back the let's bring back the lecture. Here we go. LP. There it is. Right, we can look at this graph right here. So the idea is that if you're going to change, let's look at the first one. If the unit profit value of one product relative to another is changed, no matter how small, and that's key, no matter how small, then the optimal mix will begin to gradually change from one extreme point to another extreme point. That's false because I think from the lecture, if you can come down here to the second page 3.3. Yeah, page 3.3 is a good one. On here, notice that I changed the unit profits here from 45 to 34 to 42.5 to 29. And notice the actual extreme point was still the same. So there's an example right there. If I changed the profit values and the extreme point did not change, the solution didn't change. So that one's false. So that one's right there. The second and the third one are correct because if you change it enough, it will change. And that over here is example. That's example down here, example 3, modification 3. It does change then. And if a new optimal solution is obtained from changing unit profit value of one product relative to another, then the optimal solution will always be feasible. Yes, by definition, it has to be feasible to be optimal. You can't have an optimal unfeasible solution. And finally, if the new solution is obtained from changing the unit profit of one product to another, then the maximum profit will always be only one extreme point. And that's not true. Remember, we had multiple solutions. Okay, and so this question, these 4 statements here, do a couple of things. One is introduce the idea of when you start changing the problem around, sometimes it changes, sometimes it doesn't. You just have to understand the mechanics of optimization. Because whether you optimize something or not, the concept of optimization, you want to move in that direction. You don't want to move away from optimality. And the second thing, I think in business, this is a business course, and that is our friend Roger. So he's going to say these things. They're going to say it very authoritatively, but question everything that people say. Question it. I mean, not question it like argue, but think about it. Wait a minute, is that true? Is that true? And so in this case, 2 are true and 2 are not true. Okay, so that's I think a very good learning point, learning takeaway from that question. And those of you in business know exactly what I'm saying. You probably work with a lot of Rogers. Okay. Okay, let's see here. Where am I? Okay, let's back up here. Is it possible? See. Well, I will check this, Brittany. I'll check yours. Question 3. Question 3. The answer, I think, should be A. Is it not? Resource 1 is the greatest and 2 is the least. Yeah, so the answer should be A. And if you got A, you should have a point. If you did B, C, D, or E, you didn't get a point. I'll check yours to make sure that's right. Stanley. Question 3. The next one, is it possible to share, whoops, sorry, grabbed the wrong one. Is it possible to share these results? I'm so glad you asked that. Let's bring up Canvas and let's come to Aggregate Planning. Okay, Aggregate Planning. And notice here, I have this in bold because I'm instituting a new communications channel. And I want to emphasize this, that for all questions about the material, lectures, homework, this topic, in this topic, use the Q&A link to discuss in Canvas. And there's the link right there. You clicked it. I'll click it in a minute. Post questions and answers. Post your answers. Share your answers. Share your questions. Share information like Excel spreadsheets. Share them with each other. Say, hey, here's mine. Did you guys get this? So you guys can share things around, and I've encouraged that. Well, now I'm putting it in a unit here, in a module, within a module, in a unit, and a link to it, and use for learning together. I will use this space for Q&A for this topic. So I think going forward, I'm going to go to the Q&A here and ask and look for questions instead of my email, because often I will miss emails or Canvas messaging. They're all together, and not only all the courses are together, but I have my committees are together, and I get all these emails, and sometimes I'll miss some. But these questions are on this topic, this course, and I'll go down. I'll make sure I get them all, and I'll read them. If I don't have to do anything, then I won't say anything because it's all right. If I correct it, I'll correct it. So post your questions here. So when I link to this, see, no one has responded, probably because it's new, but use it. And I think it's going to work better. I hope it's going to work better. And so let's try this. Let's try it so that people can start sharing information and answers. And so you're going to do this in business anyway. When you start working in business, you gotta collaborate. You gotta work with everybody. And so rarely, actually, if someone comes up with an original thought, it's only based on what they learned from everyone else, and they'll add something to it. And so why do you have to have original thought of everyone else's? So let's just work together. Okay, let's go back. To here. Back to aggregate planning. So use this for the questions. Now that doesn't mean if you want to, talk to me personally and use email and I see it, that doesn't mean I won't answer it. But if the information in the question or whatever, if this is really a general questions about the material, I'll probably say post it to Q&A. And so I'll suggest that. So I'll try that. We'll try that. So let's give that a shot, and let's see if it's going to work. And I think it might work better. Okay, and that was suggested to me, and I think it's a good idea. Okay, so that was a good question. Let's see. I originally thought I had 6 right, but then I realized I forgot to rerun solver. Hey, I've done it so many times myself. Common mistake. I did that all the time. Explain transformation for 19 and 29. 19 to 29. Change the can we share answers before a deadline? Oh, yeah, absolutely. You mean like, so this weekend, I'm going to be going over quiz 3. I'll show you how to work it. When you guys start working it, say, here's what I got. What did you get? Here's what I got. What did you get? It's fine with me. Because homework is not an exam. Homework is collaboration is encouraged. When you collaborate, you can collaborate. Here's how you work it. Here's my Excel spreadsheet. No, you're wrong. I'm right. I'm right. You're wrong. Whatever. Just share that information. Okay. I'm not going to tell you it's right because then you won't think. But if someone tells you they're right, they could be wrong. And so you have to think again. I wouldn't say they're a Roger, but everybody makes mistakes. Look at the mistakes I made. So when you question it from each other, test each other. So together you can share information, share answers. Okay, 19 and 20. Okay, let's go back to that then. Very good. 19 and 20. Let's come down to homework 2, 19 and 20. Which one is that one? Can we? Oh, the transformations. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, remember, if I bring back, which is good to repeat, when we leave this product mix problem here, we won't come back to it. It's good to repeat it and leaving because this is important for a couple of reasons. One if we come back to the, let's see, where's the lecture? Here it is. If we come back to the lecture, bring it over here, full screen it. Okay. And at the very beginning here, remember the, what does this 30 mean? 30 means is the number of board of wood needed for each table. Now that's a definition. In other words, the general definition is the number of units of resource, in this case board feet, this case hours, those are the units. This represents the number of units of resource required for 1 unit of product. So now, when we come to this right here, the product for carpentry. Let's just look at this for a second. Let me bold it. The production standard in carpentry is reported to complete 20 small frames in 2 hours, 32 medium frames in 4 hours, 12 large frames in 2 hours. A lot of times that's exactly how things are reported. Oh, well, in one 8-hour shift, we made 33. Okay, so we have 8 hours and 33. How do we get that number? Well, the number is number of units of resource. What's your resource? Carpentry. What's the unit of measure? Hours. What's the product? Small frames, medium frames, large frames. Okay, so how many units of resource, which is hours, are required for each small frame? Well, that's going to be 2 hours. Let's do it this way. 2 hours divided by 20 small frames. And so that's equal to 0.10. So that's hours per frame, per small frame. Okay, and do the same thing for all of these. And in the video, I even set up a little, this, and this, divide it all. You can set it up in Excel real fast, but that's the concept. Okay, again, being strict with the definitions. And so there's where all of these came from. And it's easy to set up an Excel spreadsheet and blah, blah, blah. And I'll show you an Excel spreadsheet for aggregate planning too. You'll see in just a second when I get to the quiz. And hopefully that'll streamline things between now and Sunday. At least that's what I'm hoping. So prove me right. Don't prove me wrong. It'll streamline it. It goes fast and it's easy. Don't prove me wrong. make sure it's good. Anyway, okay, let's see here. Okay, I think that's all the questions on this homework. That's good. If there are any more questions, don't hesitate to ask. Do not hesitate to ask. That's why we're here. Okay, and sometimes repetition is good. I know when I was in school, I would ask the same question 2 or 3 times, and they get mad at me, and I go, no, I need to get it in my brain so I own it. And repetition is good for that. Well, in this case, what is the capacity? For the problem that we just looked at, I assume this is what you're talking about. Notice the 8-hour shifts. So they're making these in just an 8-hour shift. Well, if hours are your units of resource, what's the capacity of the resource in an 8-hour shift? It's 8 hours. See? That's the capacity is 8 hours over here. 8 hours. And by the way, you can do this hours and minutes. You can even do it in shifts. Years ago when I worked this problem, I used to say, I solved it in hours, then I solved it in minutes, I solved it in shifts. And how many shifts will it take? Well, I divide through by 8. That's 1 shift. And it gets confusing, so I don't do that anymore. Okay, sure. In question 6, could you please show the chart? Yeah. Let's come back up here to question 6. There we go. Okay, on this one, if a new optimal solution is obtained from changing the unit profit value of one product relative to another. Okay, let me answer this way, and then I'll come back to this. Let's go to the lecture and see if this answers it. I think this might answer it better. Let's go to the lecture. Let's come down to, let's see, what page is it? Come down here and back up. Product mix. Okay. Example number 6, page 3-8 in the lecture notes. So what I did, I took the redwood furniture problem and I changed the unit profits from, I think it was 6 and 8 or something. I changed it to 5 and 10. And the reason I changed it to 5 and 10 is that 5 and 10 then are the exact same coefficients of the labor constraint, so they're parallel lines. And so when you solve the thing, you're going to get 2 extreme points. And so you can have 2 extreme points for the optimal solution. Okay, and so knowing that, over here, notice what Roger says. If a new optimal solution is obtained from changing the unit profit value of one product relative to the other. Well, this one, I can change this to where, since 5 and 10, it doesn't matter what the numbers are, as long as this number is twice that number. That can be 2, that could be 4, that could be 6, that could be 12. And they're going to be parallel. And I'll have 2 extreme points. So then the maximum profit will always be only 1 extreme point, and that's false. It could be 2 in 2 dimensions. And I think this is 2 dimensions. No, it's 3 dimensions. Okay, so you'll have 3 dimensions. Okay, so you'll have an area. Okay, this is a line, 2 dimensions line, 3 dimensions is good. Will be an area. So you can have 3 extreme points. We can have multiple extreme points. Put it that way. So that's what that means. And I hope that was a good way to explain it. As a matter of fact, where's the problem? Where's the problem? Let's back up. Okay, here's a problem. Oh, it is 2. It's just 2. So if I have, let's see, let's pick one right here. Okay, let's pick 10 and 30. Okay, so let's make this profit 24. Multiply that by 3, and that's going to be what, 72? Is that right? So if we change the 44 to 72, then what happens is we'll have 2 extreme points. We'll have multiple extreme points. We'll have multiple solutions. Because then your profit, ISO profit line will be parallel to the first constraint. Okay. I hope that helps. As a matter of fact, that is a good thing to know, especially in applications where you're in a business that's very dynamic. Things change all the time, which is usually most businesses. Things change here, things change there. Oh no, I have to do this, all these things are coming at you so quickly. You go, oh no, I have to. So what happens is you go, okay, I'm going to design this thing. I'm going to design my coefficients here, my cost, everything, such that I have multiple solutions. And so I'm going to minimize my cost, but then I'm going to design it to where I am very robust and flexible. And so then when something comes in that changes, I'll look and say, okay, I can make the change here and still be optimal, because you have multiple ways of doing it. And it's extremely powerful in the hands of an operations manager to say, I can accommodate these changes, but I still have an optimal solution that I'm managing. Clark Reed, okay, Clark, let's see, then why is the first statement not true? Because I think the key in the first statement, it's 6, let's go down. The key is this, no matter how small. Okay, let's go back to what we were doing. Right here, I can make this 24 and 72. But if I made this 24 and 44.1, the optimal solution is going to stay the same. the 12 and 21 is still going to be the answer. It doesn't change. So when you change it a little bit, it doesn't make any. It's not going to change the optimal solution. But if you change it enough, then it will change. And if you change it enough to a certain point, there'll be 2. If you change it more than that, there'll just be 1. It'll shift to another solution. So that concept, backing up on the takeaway on that concept, simply is correct, Craig. You're absolutely right, Craig. Yep. Yeah. 0.25 change in profit in the unit profit values, the solution doesn't change. Now, the takeaway there is not so much, mathematical. It's conceptual. In other words, small changes here and there are not going to make that big of a difference. So don't what's the word? Don't obsess over it. I think that should be 44. That should be 44.5 and 50 cents. Say no, it shouldn't. So okay, fine. Go ahead, do it. It's not going to change what we do. So sometimes small changes are not really going to change what you do. And if you change them enough, you're going to have 2 solutions. If you change them too much, you will change what you do. But sometimes you have to change quite a bit to change how your operations need to be modified. Okay? So these are really good takeaways from this homework assignment. And so they're kind of like embedded in, they're solving a problem, but there's a lot of learning lessons from each one of these. In other words, it's like the Meatballs movie when they says we're going to go out and get killed by this other team in the relay race. It says it just doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. You're going to leave camp. It doesn't matter. Okay. Well, some things don't matter. Some things do matter. And learning the math, know what matters and what doesn't matter. And then boom, you're going to be a really good business person. To only expend effort in those areas that really matter. Very good. Very good, guys. I think you got it. I'm going to wait here a little bit and see if there's more questions or more comments or anything. I think we are getting close to it there. I really like that. Before I go to quiz 3. But I can come back to this. So let's go to quiz 3. And I'll be looking at the chat. If we go back to homework 2, I will. Now, quiz 3. Let me first go through it quickly. And not even work it, but just say, here's all the different problems. And then let me show you how to approach them. Well, how I suggest to approach them. First of all, questions 1 and 2 are just general questions. And this came right out of the lecture. Right out of the lecture last week. Okay, and so let's go on. And then I go into the rest of it, 3 through 10. What I do here, I say, okay, consider. Yes, I am. Yes, I'm gonna cover Memo 2. Memo 1, and then introduce Memo 2. Consider the quarterly demand of, so here's your quarterly demand. Let the production standard be $250. Let the carrying cost be $5 per item per quarter. Okay? Question 3. With a beginning annual inventory of 600 and ending annual inventory of 600, which set of values are correct for a level capacity aggregate planning strategy within the solution and analysis tables? So, you're taking this problem right here and you're solving it. Say, what's my production for quarter 1? So you have either A, B, C, D, or none of the above. I put none of the above in case I did the same thing. I don't think I did it this time, though. Production for quarter 1, ending inventory for quarter 2, total carrying cost for quarter 3, FTE requirement for quarter 1, FTE hired in quarter 2, fired in quarter 3, total annual cost. And this is everything. Okay? So what you'll be doing is solving those tables for question 3, question 4 for chase demand, question 5 for inventory objective, Question 6 for an inventory objective and level capacity. Question 6 for an inventory objective of chase demand. Question 7 for an inventory objective and level capacity going down this time. And this, an inventory objective, chase demand going down. And then 9 is an inventory objective, but which production plan represents a mixed strategy that satisfies all the requirements. And note, all requirements imply it's not level, it's not chase, no negative inventory, and the inventory objective of 600 to 560 is met. Okay, so I hope these first 9, I'll do 10 in a minute. So these first 9, hopefully there's no mistakes in these things, because I learned my lesson last time. I'd learned it before. I didn't mean to do all that stuff, but I wasn't really interrupted. I was interrupted multiple times last time. I kept forgetting where I ended. Okay, aggregate planning here. Let's see here. So what we're going to be doing here is going to be, let's come in here, so you have to solve these things. Now, here's what I strongly suggest your approach to be. Let's bring Canvas back. Here's aggregate planning. And notice right under here, this is this video right here, but notice I put the Excel template from the AP lecture, AP Excel template. Download this, okay? Well, I don't want that. I want to download it. Well, I've downloaded it. Let me download it here. Well, I just did. See, download this thing. It's an Excel. It's a template. It's an Excel template. And then open it up. Okay, here we go. Enable editing. Enlarge this thing. And let me show you what I did here. I have a template for you. This is level capacity. This is chase demand. This is mixed hybrid. And this is minimum cost. Now, what I mean by this is, if you want, let's minimize this. Let's go to question 3 and 4. So notice here's your demand. Okay, and so you're going to take that demand and you're going to put it right here. Okay, and then you have your production standard, 250. This 200 becomes 250. The carrying cost is $5 per item per quarter. Now this is per year. So if it's five items per quarter, let's see, what's 5 times 12? That's 60, right? So it's going to be 60 items $60 per item per year. Is that correct? If I put 60 in there, then it should be, where's it at? Carrying cost. 5. Oh, not 12. 5 times 4 is 20. Oh, I was doing monthly. Okay, monthly is going to be the memo. So it's $5 per item per quarter. It's going to be 20 per year. So you put 20. Okay. Now I don't have the right demand in here. I don't have these right. You put these in here. You put these in here. You put these in here, and it does all this for you. Okay. And so I thought about this. I thought, if you want to know all the details, you can go through this spreadsheet and learn it, or you can understand the concept behind it. Some students like to know the detail. Some students just like to have the concept. Okay, and so I thought I'm going to have it here for you for those who want to learn it different ways. And so then the chase demand down here is the same thing. You do the same thing down here on this, and then you go back, and then you'll have on 5 and 6. On 5 and 6 it's level and chase, but now we have 600 and 720. So the beginning inventory is 600, and this is 720, and then everything else is the same for level and then for chase, and then for 7 and 8 it's the same thing. You just change the ending inventory. and then you just pull them off. You pull them off. The quarter one production is this one here. The ending inventory for quarter two is way over here. Let's broaden this a little bit. Ending inventory for quarter two is there. Of course, this is the wrong problem, but there's where you'd find it. The total carrying cost for quarter three, TCC for quarter three. Let's broaden this even more. And there it is, quarter three. The FTE requirements for quarter one. So the labor FTE for quarter one is 105. Hired quarter two, well, that's 0. Fired quarter two is 0. Total annual cost is that cost right there. That's the total cost for the year. Just pull them off. And so you plug them in here, and then you can see where they go. And so, yeah. And so there's good and bad. There's positive and negative. The negative is I'm doing it for you. And it says, well, I'm not learning anything. Well, you can learn. Look and see how I did it. And go in there and actually look at the equations. The good part is, also the bad part is you're not thinking about it. You just put it in there and get the answers. So, but I do this not just to get the answers. I do it so you can actually learn how these things work together and how easy Excel can solve these problems for you. Now, what I don't do in this class, which I would like to, but I don't, and that is create another page over here and make a dashboard. Put a dashboard in here. So this is getting very close to a dashboard. You put these numbers in, boom, 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 and it spits out the numbers you want. Okay? And so it's getting very close to a dashboard where these right here, these represent your inputs. And this right here, all this is your output. And so you can create a dashboard. You say, I want to put this input and I want, let's see here. I want that as an input and I want these right here as my output. You click, 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 boom, there it is. And so what a dashboard is in Excel, which is very powerful in business, is that you'll have one spreadsheet that does the work and the other spreadsheet will pull the answers and it'll display it. So you're not looking at everything, you're looking at just what you want to see. Okay, and I've said that. And so now, you can either just get the answers and just plug and crank, or somebody can even send you the answers on the discussion board. I prefer you do not do that because say here's the answers, B, C, D, A, B, D, C kind of thing. But no, go through it. But some people can look at the equations. Some people look at the equations and get on YouTube and look at some dashboards and just create some dashboards. So you can go as deep as you want in this course. I'm laying a foundation and helps and templates so you can build on it. Okay. Now, that's 1 through 8. Now, number 9. Okay, let me make sure that, see here. I'm going to cover Memo 2 tonight. Is exam going to be multiple questions? There's going to be more than one question. I think it'll be multiple choice. There's more than one question. There's multiple questions and the questions are multiple choice. But I'm going to have a review. I'm going to have a review guide before we get to the exam. And that review guide will tell you the kinds of questions I'll be asking. So a minimize access. I'm sure you know what that question means. I don't. But anyway, you can ask it a different way. Okay, or, a little easier so my simple mind can understand what you're asking. Let's see here. What are we doing? Oh, let's bring this down. Okay. Oh, yeah, number 9. Now, this one's different. This one, I have 3 of them here. I have 4 ABCD mixed plans. None of them are level. They're mixed plans. Will it be time boxed and we can have time to solve before time be? Well, the exam is timed. Well, you'll see when I do. I don't want to talk about the exam now. I'll talk about the exam before the exam, and I have a review guide. So learn the material, but then I'll show you what in the material you need to know for it. Oh, access. No. I see what you mean. You mean the database. Access database? No. This is totally different. I probably shouldn't have brought it up. No, this is just a way to organize things within and present things like data visualization. Q4, question 4 is not E. I assume on homework 2. Well, actually, question on homework 2? Oh, you probably mean on this one. Question 4. I don't think any of them are E. I don't think any of them are E. But I have the E in there in case I made a mistake. You see how many numbers I throw around in here. Let's go back to 9. So on these, the way to solve number 9 is what I suggest. Here's what I suggest. Is you take each one of these. Okay, let's say take this first one. Control C. And then bring back the template that I have. Okay. And then come down here and look at the mixed. Now remember this mixed here, or hybrid, is not, let me bring it down a little bit. And I can put, well, let's put it here. So I bring this one and put it here. Whoops. Put this one, put it here. Okay. And I take this one, I put it here. Well, actually, let me put that back. Let me just take all these and then transpose it. Oh, it's not going to let me. Now I can. Transpose it. And there they are. You do that and just see, is it level? No. Is it chase? No. Is it, oh, darn, it's, you know, what am I doing here? This is the production. I put it in the demand. Okay, production. Transpose it now. So is it, well, it's not going to be right because it's the wrong demand. But the thing of it is you say, put it in here and say, is it level? No. Is it chase? No. Is there any negative inventory? Any of these negative? Well, they're negative. So no, you can then kick that one out. Is the beginning and ending inventory correct? No. So kick it out, you know, that kind of thing. So you put the production plan in and it will give you these values. Okay. That's how I suggest doing it. So you do control paste, control paste, control paste, control paste, and see if one of them satisfies these requirements of not level, not chase, no negative inventory, and the inventory objective, it starts with 600, ends with 560. That's how I suggest doing this one. Question 4. Okay, Omar. Question 4, and it was E. I assume you mean this question up here. 600 chase demand. Okay. Well, if it is, then you can put it on the Q&A and see if anyone else got something different. Okay. Okay. Now the last one, number 10 down here, with a beginning annual inventory of 600, ending annual inventory of 600. So go back to 6 and 6, 600, 600. Then which production plan represents a minimum total cost production plan that satisfies all the requirements? No negative inventory, this kind of thing. Minimum cost implies minimum total cost, where the total cost is the total annual hiring cost plus the total annual firing cost plus the total annual inventory cost. Bring our templates back. Minimum, there you go. There's hiring, firing, inventory carrying cost, and there's a total. See, this is the problem in the in the lecture. Okay, so what you do is you replace the beginning inventory, the production standard, hire, fire, just like we did above. Put in the right demand. Okay, put the demand in here, and everything else is set up here. I think, I'm pretty sure. And so then you go to data. Actually, let me take, let's see here. Let me take the data solver, and let's see here. Yeah, these are my decision variables. Let me close this out. Let me zero these out. Boom. And go solver, ready, and see what's, everything else is pretty much zero there. And then say solve. And there it is. And so use this to solve that last problem. And then you peel it off. Okay, so this is quiz 3. So that's, I hope that will streamline solving all this stuff and just getting used to the template and plugging and cranking, so you get used to Excel. But it'll give you all the answers because the templates are set up. And basically these templates, all I did was just put together the lectures. Okay, the lecture from the lecture, and just made the whole table there, like the solution, the analysis table together. Basically, that's what I did to solve. And we'll use these tables for the homework and the memo coming up next week. Okay, let's see here. Before I get to the memo, Becca, I meant quiz 3. Oh, okay, Becca, question 4 and quiz 3. Let's go back real quick. Quiz, oh, question 4. Question 4 on quiz 3. Okay. Well, I suggest, again, I assume, Becca, question 4 on quiz 3. There you go. Take this, put it into your, make sure everything is put in correctly, and post it on the Q&A. Post your Excel spreadsheets and let people talk. And I think that together that you guys can figure it out. Because sometimes a student can answer your question much more directly than I can. I'm too close to the material, and you guys know, like Becca, you'll ask it, and Omar asks it, and Craig knows exactly what you're saying because they just finished doing that, you know. And sometimes students can answer these things better than I can. And so I'll answer them, but try the Q&A first, and I'll be visiting it the next. I'll try to visit pretty much every day or every other day between now and this weekend. And if you ever have questions, you can always ask me on office hours, Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 7. And I'll go back to these, but let's go on to memo number 1. Oh, I'm going to review memo 1 in preparation for memo 2 this weekend. Okay, so memo 1, let me show you what I mean by that. Let's see here. Let me bring up memo 1. Boom. Oops. It's got to be over here. Here we go. Okay. So this is, whoa. Okay. This is memo 1. And I didn't have a chance to do this last week, so I'm doing it now. This is a forecasting memo. And I think the key here on these memos, but also in any kind of business, read the request extremely carefully and make sure you know what they're asking. And then you give them what they ask for. Don't give them something they don't ask for when you don't give them what they do ask for. You can give them more, but give them at least what they ask for. In other words, that's what coming in here, first of all, they believe sales have been increasing. That's key. They have asked us for a monthly forecast of the carryout pizza for the next fiscal year. And there you go. That right there is something we have to give them. They have asked us for a monthly forecast and some insights. So these are the two things that I was looking for. And I was pretty lenient. I accepted pretty much anything that was close to that. What I didn't accept is if you did not have monthly forecasts and you just said nothing about the trend and the seasonality. Okay, it would even be best if you say have trend, so it's going to increase, so your sales are going to increase. You're going to have to order more. I'm not going to say your costs are going to increase, so you have to order more. And it's seasonal, so therefore different parts of the year will have different requirements. And so you can talk more business about the results instead of saying there's a linear trend in seasonality. Okay, what do I do about it? Well, you're going to increase your purchases of your resources because your sales are going up, and it's going to fluctuate throughout the year. Some's high, some's low, and here's the months that it's high and the months that it's low. Okay, now as they went on, the demand for the carryout seemed to be volatile. That's the seasonality, because they've had supply problems. That's why they're asking this. So what you tell them is going to help them with the supply problems, with their purchasing upstream in their supply chain. Okay, and so here's all the data. Analyze the Anderson's problem and prepare a response memo and the technical memo. So again, monthly data. Use all the data provided. Do not aggregate and list for a purpose. Every once in a while, someone will aggregate, and some people did. I'll show you in a minute. They'll aggregate the years. Okay, and here's the 4 years. Okay, and that's fine if you have a purpose for it. But make sure that you give them monthly forecast for 2021. Analyze, present analysis along with your results. In other words, I wasn't too strict on this, but in practice, if they want you to analyze it, you analyze it. Don't just say, well, here's my output. Well, a computer does that. People don't do that. Computers do that. But people will analyze what those numbers mean. So that's what I mean by that. Okay. A couple of things I've noticed, and I'll point out a little bit out here on these examples. Use of decimals in this case indicates detail not able to support. In other words, these are in the thousands. Don't have a 0.5 or 0.23 pizzas forecasted for a whole month. Only use a visual for a purpose that has value and address the purpose. As you'll see in a minute, I'll say, what's the value of this? What's the purpose? Don't just throw a bunch of stuff at them. That is negative in business. The more you give a client, if it's a client, it's even more so that way. The more you give them, why am I looking at this? Tell me what I need to know. Don't tell me what I don't need to know. And then inside of a business, only give them what you're going to be discussing. If you give them things that you don't discuss or doesn't have value, then they will take that and they will run with it, and you'll never get to your conclusions. Present visuals clearly. Limit abbreviations. As a matter of fact, back when I was working, we would have no abbreviations. Present near the text. Don't have your text here and your visuals over your graph over here. Label it, title it, etc. Responses for results. Technical is for the approach. Don't mix. And it happened this semester, almost every time their response to the client is technical. Again, it wasn't strict, but I'll mention it. If they want to know what their monthly forecasts are, they don't want to know all the mathematics went in to get that. I'm not asking you for the mathematics. I'm asking you for the forecasts. And what does it mean to me? Because I'm running a business. And so be thinking of who your audience is. Craig, right, bottom line, up front, it's exactly right. Here's what you need to know, and here's why. And that's why a presentation should be less than 2 minutes. When I was doing this, if we had a presentation, something like this, if that was more than 60 seconds or 90 seconds, is way too long. Way too long. You're going to lose your audience. Technical is for the approach. Yes, I did. We would not use abbreviations because in government is so large that an abbreviation over here is not the same as here, is not the same as here, is not the same as here. If you're in an industry, then they do have common abbreviations. So what we would do, well, yes, I was in government research, but this is classified research, and so our presentations were people across, like senators and Pentagon and this kind of thing, and technology centers, and so they were like we would present the physics to the chemists, and we'll present the rock mechanics to the engineers. So we had to make sure that we if we had an acronym, we would say this acronym means this, and then we would use it. And sometimes we wouldn't even use an acronym. We'll have A1, A2, A3. This means this, this, this. But anyway, that's different. Technicals for approach. Notice it's the approach. Mistakes people make, don't make this mistake in business, is they go, oh, here's my spreadsheet. That's what I did. That's not an approach. Yeah, see, you get me off track, Craig. Military too. In other words, the Quartermaster Corps will have acronyms that the Signal Corps will not. Okay, Corps of Engineers will have acronyms, that intelligence will not. And so the different groups in your MOS will have different acronyms. Even in the military, you have to be very, very careful. Know who you're talking to, know your audience, know that they know what you know, or the acronyms you're going to be using. It's safer just not to use any, or identify them every time you present. Okay, and the technicals for the approach, don't just say, here's my spreadsheet, or say, oh, I used Excel and got it. That's not an approach. So say how you formulated it, how you put it together, what some of the equations were. You don't have to work it, but you have to say exactly the kinds of things that you what you did. Now, Craig, what are you sorry for? That was perfectly fine. I loves our acronyms. Okay, maybe they do. Okay, well, again, know your audience. I know Signal Corps. I've known people in Signal Corps and Corps of Engineers and infantry. Okay. Anyway, don't mix. You and I should probably talk. Okay. Coordinate your response to technical memos. They see, what you say in the response memo should be supported in the technical memo. It should be supported. In other words, don't say one thing in the response memo, another thing in the technical memo, and they don't really coordinate. Okay, so they should coordinate somehow, somewhere, somehow. Let me clean up my thing over here, my desktop over here. There we go. Okay, and then in technical, only present approach to solution, not steps that do not apply. Okay, so here's what I did, and I posted this. You probably already looked at this, and I'm not going to go over this here. You get your slope, you get your indexes. If you block it, just like I'm doing here, then you get these answers here. If you would, the true forecast is this. I generated these numbers with the random number generator. And so basically these are the true answers, and this is the percent error. So it's pretty darn close, okay? Blocking will do that for you. Down here, I had a line plot. A lot of people use line. Stacked. A lot of people use stacked. Here's the seasonally adjusted. Some people use that, and here's the data. Okay, alternative approaches. So I can use filtering, and notice the error here is a lot greater when you use filtering, because technically you only have 4 years worth of data. If you have a lot more data, filtering and blocking start coming together when you have a lot of data. Okay, this is only 4 years. If it's 6, 8, 10 years, filtering and blocking are fine. Or you look at daily data within 4 years. Then blocking and filtering would be close to one another, as long as you have a lot of data. Or here you see average annual increase. In other words, the yearly increase from 17 to 18, 18, 19, 19 to 20 is right there. I took the average, and I just used that to add that to the last one to get my forecast. And notice those percentage errors is pretty small. Actually, they're smaller than this over here. And then the last annual increase, just take from 19 to 20, just take those two and that's all, and then add that, okay? And the percent error, again, is pretty small. So there's different ways you can do it. And the only reason these alternative methods work is because the error is pretty small. The larger the error, then the more precise your technique needs to be. Okay? I found it, Omar, good comment. I found it difficult to put all my thoughts in one page, technical or the response memo. And then the answer to that, which is a common answer, is you have too many thoughts. I guarantee you, I could talk for days on this stuff, but I'm only going to be talking about the most important. And so that's why it's only one page. And say, okay, what are the most important thoughts? In other words, what do they need to know? And you'll see in just a second. They'll need to know what the forecasts are, and also the insights in the future, which is trend and seasonality. You can say that in half a page. You say, wait a minute, there's a lot more to be said. Do they need to know that? Do they want to know that? So be careful saying too much about things that are not necessarily well received. They want to know the answer because they want to move on. Now the technical, you can say exactly what you need to say. You can have another document. You can have all of your thoughts here, and then you take out just what you need, just the important parts to put in these memos. Now that exercise of here's the answer, what do I pull out, what important parts do I put out to communicate it effectively? That skill is necessary in business. You have to be succinct and you have to be adequate. And so pulling out just what you need is really key. So good question. I'm glad I was able to mention that. Is there anything else down here? I think that's it. Okay. Now then, what I did, I went back and I pulled different people did different things. I'm going to pull and show different types of memos that different people did, just the response memo. And the response memo has to have the content, what's being asked for, again, the forecasts and the insights, okay? And people did it different ways. There's no one way to do that. And first have that. And the second thing, you have to communicate that in such a way that what you're communicating is received well. Now we're doing memos, and so it has to be visually appealing. Visual, you're not talking about it. It's visually appealing. It cannot be appealing with just words. The words have to be very impactful in an initial way. In other words, you don't have time to explain things. This is not a novel. It's a memo. It's a communication. It's a memo. Okay. So let me show you some of the formats. So the formats are important, and also I'll bring up some other things too. So let's bring this up here. Okay, here we go. Boom. So what I'm going to be doing, let's see, view this. Let me view this thing. Boom, to page. So here's the first one. Now this first one is they gave the forecast and they gave the description down here. That's all they did. Now it's not important, the details. I'm looking at the format. Now, no one in this class really gave all of these forecasts in a paragraph. I've had other classes that did. And all they had was like 3 or 4 paragraphs. And the forecast, for January is this, for February is this, for March, they put it in a sentence. Which is fine. All the information's there. Some people want it, some people don't. And down here they talked about and notice I blacked out the name. Down there they talk about the concepts. Okay, and I think maybe they wanted to fill up a page, but they probably could have done this in just maybe 1 or 2 paragraphs. Okay, the next one. Let me view this to where page display. single page view. Okay, the next one, they give just the forecast and they give a line plot. In the line plot, they have the actual forecast out here in a different color. And notice there's the actual text is right here and here. That is less than a half a page. This table and this graph fills up more than half of the actual page. Okay, the next one. So here they have the forecast and a stacked plot. Well, also the value of this is not only do they have the forecast in a table, in a vertical table, and a stacked plot, but also they have the bullets. Okay, and I'm really glad that this person used bullets, because I want to say that know your audience, because I've been places where there's people that, they can take the bullets or not, but some people love bullets. Some people hate bullets. And this one person I know in an organization I used to work for, I didn't work with him, but I know they worked in the same organization. They would not accept any type of communication with bullets. And they would do a presentation with bullets. They go, no. He says, they'll walk out. He'll walk out of the room. He says, you show me and you tell me and you write it out in a sentence. I don't want bullets. Well, the bullet can be a sentence. I don't want to see bullets. And some people love bullets. Okay, so I'm glad to see these bullets. But just to say that, I think they can be efficient. I don't mind, but some people do. Okay, the next one. Here they have a line plot and they have, see, these are just the forecast, right? Here they have the data and the forecast with a line plot. So on this one, and actually what was said was perfectly fine. It was a good memo, good response memo. The question I would have would be, why do you want the reader, the client, the audience to see 4 years worth of monthly data? Is there a reason for that? I've been in meetings. Let's enlarge this. Let me enlarge this. I've been in meetings. So just remember this. Again, this is perfectly good. You got 100%. No problem. But I just want to say that I've been in meetings where people raise their hand and say, wait just a minute, in the middle of your presentation. Wait just a minute. 2080 in January 2017. Why is that there? Is there a problem with that one? No, it's just the data. 2,636. Is there a problem with that? No, it's just the data. 3,223. Is there a problem with that? It says, give the guy a break. What are you doing? Well, they didn't like his presentation, so they're going to ask about every single one of these numbers. I was a young scientist. I go, wow, these people can really be picky. And they can. And so, well, hopefully that will never happen to you, hopefully. But my point is, don't give anyone anything that they can look at like that unless there's a reason for it. Now, down here, if there's a reason for it, then you can say, well, what's the reason for that? The reason is given down here. Okay, we're looking at all this data because. So be careful in business communications. You only give them what they ask for or what they need. If they ask for the data, then you give it to them, because then they can't complain because they asked for it. Okay, let's go on. Let me take this off. I don't want this the view here. This view display, single page. Okay, I don't want this either. Okay, take this off. Here we go. That's good. Okay, here we go. The next page. Oh, darn. Let's see here. Oh. That's good. I can't get back to my, I can't get it right to this display. Single page, page display. Anyway, so the next one, I'll just scroll down. I've enabled scrolling and I can't undo it. Now I've enabled this. Oh, for crying out loud, let's see here. Sorry, guys. Let's see here. Actual size, and I don't want automatic zoom. I don't want this. Okay, I want that. Okay, here we go. They're gonna zoom me anyway. Okay, the next one. Okay, the next. Let me just engage the zoom. I mean the scroll. Okay. Okay, the next one is, okay, this one also has a line plot and they have the data. But on this one, I pulled this one up because I mentioned this before, and it's not wrong, but again, when you have 10,156.5 pizzas as a forecast for a whole month of January, the 0.5 really, again, leaves the door open for someone to ask, well, really, is it 6.5 or 5.5? Is it 6? Or are you forecasting half of a pizza for a whole month when you're forecasting 10,000? So again, just to be careful, don't leave those hooks open in business. Don't let anyone give an opportunity to do that. Okay, the next one is a stack plot. This is a good one. I like this one. It's a nice, clean stack plot. And notice the text here says everything they need. Here's a stack plot with the seasonality and the trend, and here's the actual data. Again, the data, be careful giving all the data. A lot of people gave the data in the forecast. Okay, and I would suggest not giving the data because you can see the data in the chart. So I would suggest not doing that to a client in business. Because the business, they don't need to see the data. They don't care about seeing the data. They want to know the results on how to run their business. Okay. The next one, this one is a stack plot and a line plot together. And then down here, they give the forecasts. But they give years ahead. They give the 2021, 22, 23, okay, with their insights, and I like that. And then down here below, boom, boom, okay, down here below, they also give the annual, let's see here. They give the 2021, 22, 23, they give the annual forecasts. Okay, well, here's the monthly for the planning. Here's the annual maybe for budgeting. Okay, for the annual budget. So this was good too. So there's a lot of good ones. And now which one of these is the best? It really depends on the audience. Some people just want this. Some people just want the simple. Simple is better. So be careful about communicating in business. And I think there really should be a number of courses in business that we don't have. Most business schools don't have them. One is communication. The other is how to navigate with political and social capital within an organization. Okay, that's enough for this. Let's now memo number 2. Finally, memo number 2. Let's bring up memo number 2. And memo number 2 is going to be, let's see, where is it? Here it is. If I can get to it, let's see, homework, syllabus, memo to assignment. There it is. Okay, again, I just start here with the instructions so people know how to do this. Okay, number 2. Now, this is going to be a linear programming. It's going to be a product mix, but I put a few little catches in here to make it a little bit more realistic. Okay, Burnett, a small local distribution company. It's not a manufacturing company, it's distribution. Orders products from manufacturers, packages the products, distributes the packaged products to retail customers in the Denver area. They have asked our assistance in examining their next production run for 2 special products. One product is a Disney sing-along book. And the second product is a combination of the same Disney sing-along book packaged with a CD of the songs. Now, CD is kind of an old, there's still CDs out there. You can still get them, especially for kids, and they still have the CD players. And so here in the future, I may have to change that. But for now, let's just say that your kid's still looking at CDs. By the way, a lot of you have kids. If you have kids, I would suggest I don't know. No, I don't suggest raising. I mean, what am I trying to say? I think when my kids were young, I said there's a VHS, there's a cassette tape recorder. Learn how to use it. There's a VHS. Learn how to use it. And I showed them how to use it and says, you use it. So before I even went to school, they were using equipment. I guess that's the engineer in me. So they were using it. So they're pretty good at it. Anyway, although they have experienced the manufacturing increasing costs in the past, they have not examined the effect of increased cost will have on production plans. We've mentioned that in the lecture, remember? If the cost changes, maybe production changes. And in this case, it does. Interesting. The manufacturer has just increased the cost of the CD to $370, while the cost of the book remains at $150. Although Burnett has decided not to change the price of the book only product of $595 and the book cassette of $995, different production plans have been discussed due to the change in the profit margins. Very interesting. And so the Miss Burns of Burnett Distribution Company, she's saying, well, the cost of this has increased. We're keeping the price the same, but we might change our production mix so that we don't lose money. And I've mentioned that before. You can shift things around such that if you lose money, you'll minimize your losses or maybe not lose any money at all. So let's look at this. Okay, but then I'll come back to this. Let me underline this. I'll come back to this. Now, this next sentence is important. Due to heated arguments during planning meetings, the president, Ms. Burns, has requested our assistance in comparing different production plans before they place her next order. That's an important sentence. First, due to heated arguments. I want to emphasize that. So this memo is you're creating a memo and entering into conflict. Be careful what you say when you're in the middle of conflict. You don't want to battle. You are a consultant that you're coming in. So what is she asking you to do? Our assistance in comparing different production plans. Comparing. She's not asking us to recommend. She's not asking us what production plan should we use. She's not asking us should we minimize cost. She's saying just compare different plans because there's a heated argument. You're entering into a conflict, so be careful that you enter into this conflict with doing just exactly what you're being asked to do. No more and no less. Okay, here we go. Much of the conflict comes from some members of the planning committee that strongly hold to producing as much of the book cassette as possible with available assembly and packaging resources, and then produce the book only with remaining packaging resources. Because the book cassette requires assembly and packaging resources, but the book only just requires packaging because the book comes intact. Okay, although this approach has worked well in the past, newer members, and let me underline that, newer members of the planning committee propose possible increase of profits by considering alternative production plans. Okay? By considering what? Alternative production plans. They're not changing the price. They're not changing the cost. They're not changing resources. They're changing production plans. that still comply with the company constraints. We have been retained as outside consultants. Outside consultants, that's key. We're not in the fight. We're not in the battle. We're not in the conflict. We're outside consultants coming in, providing a comparative analysis. Come in, present it, and then leave, and let them interpret, to examine and report on the underlying reasoning of the different approaches. Okay, underlying reasoning. In other words, not just saying, here's one, here's one, here's one. What are the reasonings? Here's one and here's why. Here's one and here's why. Here's one and here's why. You guys choose which one you want. Because we don't know the company. We don't know what's important to them. So we have to compare these things and talk about the value of each of these different plans. Okay? And we'll talk about the plans in just a second. There's 3 of them. Ms. Burns emphasized strict constraints within their company. Since the company wishes to handle both books and cassettes, they require the number of book CD product produced to be no less than the book-only products before packaging. We're the referee. Not really. We're not saying foul. They can do all the fouls they want. We are a third, uninterested, neutral party saying, there's what I say, and you guys can talk it out. So don't be on one side or the other. Okay. Actually, okay. Sorry, Craig. A single production run consists of assembly and packaging operations performed over 3 days by different personnel. The first day, they have only one worker available for 8 hours during the day dedicated to assembly of the book CD product. The next 2 8-hour days, they have 2 full-time workers dedicated to packaging of both products. So here's our resources. Okay, day 1 and day 2. Okay, and so notice the capacity here is 8 hours, and this is 2 8-hour days. But 2 times 8 is 16 hours. So that's going to be 16 hours. So 8 hours for assembly, 16 hours for packaging. Okay. The packaging personnel do not assemble, and the assembly personnel do not package. Just assume they're different people. They keep these 2 activities separate as well as personnel. We have been strongly informed not to violate these constraints. Any production plan must satisfy these constraints. I asked for production standards. I already talked to them for assembly and packaging, and they quoted the following rates. Each book cassette requires assembly that consists of a shrink wrap process. One worker can complete 35 every minute. There's their production standard. Now that goes back to that problem in the quiz, in the homework, where you want minutes per product, time per product. Now these are hours and these are minutes. You have to change hours to minutes. There's 60 minutes in an hour. Okay. This is the assembly. You're right. Oh, Arma, you're right. 2 8-hour days have 2 full-time workers. That's right. So that's going to go. Good catch. 2 times 8 times 2. 2 days, 2 workers, 8 hours. So that's what, 32 hours, isn't it? Yeah, it's going to be 32 hours. There you go, guys. Yeah, keep me honest. Always question what people say. You're right. Okay, so down here, here's the assembly. Assembly. 1 worker, 35 every minute. Okay, that's the assembly. The book only requires no assembly. The book only product is packaged 2 dozen to a box and 230 to a box, 230 boxes, completed by 1 worker in 1 8-hour shift. Okay. No, we don't, Craig. We don't. Just on the first day. Just on the first day. So all the assembly is done on that first day. The next 2 days is just packaging. So if you didn't assemble it the first day, you don't have it. So that has to be assembled, then packaged. Okay, the book-only product is packaged 2 dozen to a box, and 230 boxes can be completed in one worker in 1 8-hour shift. The book CD product is packaged 1 dozen to a box, and 420 boxes can be packaged for a shipment by one worker in 1 hour, 8-hour shift. Okay, that's probably why you have 2 workers. So they got 2 people working 2 days on their packaging. We have been asked to examine a production plan of the individual products without consideration of packaging requirements. In other words, how many units do we package? Do we produce and package? Not boxes. So don't do the boxes. Okay, please prepare a response memo to Ms. Burns presenting comparative analysis of production plans and the underlying approaches for the next single production run within the constraints given. Let me think here. Okay, so there are 2. I thought there were 3. I'm thinking of another memo. Okay, first of all, here's the first one. Here we go. This is the first one. Producing as much of the book cassette as possible with available assembly and packaging resources, then produce the book only with remaining packaging resources. So that's one strategy. That's one production strategy. Although this approach has worked well in the past, newer members of the planning committee propose possible increase of product by considering alternative production plans that still comply with the constraints. Okay. And so the alternative plans is increase profits. There we go. So the newer member says, well, wait a minute. Maybe instead of doing this, maybe we can increase profits somehow. Is there a way to do that? With alternative production plans, alternative to these over here, that still comply with the company constraints. So those are the 2 things. We're going to take this one and compare it with this one. Now, increasing profits. How do you increase profits? You do the maximize in your linear programming. You maximize the profits just like we did on in the homework. Okay. Now this is just a heuristic that worked well in the past, but because the cost changed, maybe it doesn't work that well anymore. Transforming on Excel. You bet. Yeah. But I need to understand what you mean by that. Transforming what to what. But write it out there and I'll answer it. So let's formulate this a little bit. Okay. Let me show you how this works here. First, let's start up here with the costs. Okay. Okay. So let me put a table in here. Okay, first we have let's see here. We have the book CD, and then we have the book only. Okay, and let's make this above. There we go. So now we have the cost. And the book CD, how much does the, whoops. We have the book only. And then we have the CD. Anyway, we'll just do it this way. So the cost of the book, where is it? The cost of the CD is $370. The cost of the book is $150. Okay. Now the price. The price of the book, $5.95. The price of the CD and the, oh no, this is the price. Let's move this over. So this is the price. Let's move this over. This is price of the book only. And the book CD, the price is $9.95. Okay. And then, there we go. And then over here you have profit. Okay, so what's the profit going to be? I don't need these. Let's increase this. So what's the profit of this? See, here's your products right here. Let me bring this price over. Okay, here's your products. Okay, and so these are ingredients going into here. So this is going to be $5.95 minus book only. Well, then you just have 1.5 because you only have the book going into the book only. So that's going to be your profit. But the profit for your book cassette is $9.95 minus the book minus the CD. So that's going to be your profit for your book CD combination. Okay, so this right here is your profits in your table. Remember your table at the top. You have your the cost is what you buy it from the manufacturer. The price is what you sell it to your customers coming in the door. You're distributing it to retail stores. So the retail customers are going to pay this to us. We are buying this from the manufacturer. So we buy it from the manufacturer, we package it and sell it. So we're value added by packaging it so that they can put it together. Okay, so these numbers right here, after you do the arithmetic, that's in your profit. Remember, you have your products above, you have your profit at the bottom, that's these numbers here, and then you have your resources and your capacity and the production standards, okay? Well, these right here are your products. They're at the top, okay? Now, what about your capacity? Okay, resources. What are your resources down here? Well, the resources, and let's bring this down like this, insert another table. Your resources are going to be assembly and packaging. Okay. Now we come to the homework and says, okay, what's going to be our production standards? Let's see here. Where's it at? Here it is. One worker can complete 35 every minute. Okay, so how many minutes are required per item? Assembly. It's 35 every minute, so it's 1 minute for every 35. 1/35 of a minute. So that's 1 over 35 minutes. Okay, so now we're working in minutes. Okay, what about packaging? Okay, this is going to be the book only, or this is the book cassette. I mean book CD, I mean. This is book only. And the assembly, there's 0 for that. There's no assembly. Now what about packaging? The book-only product is packaged 2 dozen to a box, and 230 boxes can be completed by 1 worker in 1 8-hour shift. Okay, well, let's do that. Let's do that here. Okay, so we have 8 hours. And we have 2 dozen, 2 times 12, that's 2 dozen, to a box, times 230 boxes. Okay, whatever that is. Okay, 2 dozen to a box, 2 times 12, 12 in a dozen. 2 dozen, that's how many in a box, 230 boxes, that's how many items. Okay, so we want, so what we want here is we have minutes up there. We want minutes per item. Do we not? Yes, because minutes is our resource, minutes per item. Okay, and so over 8 hours, so when 8 times 60, that's how many minutes, divided by how many items? It's going to be 2 times 12 times 230. And that's going to be the standard. So you can see there's where the homework problem came in. Okay? And then down here for the next one, actually, let me pull up the answers, make sure I'm doing this right. I'm pretty sure I am. Here we go. Somewhere. Got so many things opened up here. Okay, let's see here. Here it is. Let's see. This is 2B. There we go. Good, very good, very good. Okay. Now this right here, where are we? This right here, this is going to be this 8 times 60 divided by 2 times 12 times 230. Yep, that's correct. Make sure I didn't miss anything. I didn't. So that number right there, let me just take this right here, Control C and copy it, bring that up here. That's going, now what is this? This is packaging for the book only. So this is packaging here for the book only. That goes right there. There it is. Okay. Now packaging for the book CD. Here we go. Okay, this is 1 dozen to a box, one 8-hour shift. So again, we have 8 hours. Whoops. We have 8 hours. And then they can do 1 dozen times 12 times 420. An 8-hour shift. So this is going to be 8 times 60. That's how many minutes, divided by 1 times 12 times 420. That's going to be minutes per items. So let me take this, copy this, and that's going to be right in there. So I hope it's okay with you guys for me to say, hey, this is how you do it. So over here is our capacity. And this is going to be 8 times 60. Whoops. This is 8 times 60. Okay. No, for the packaging. Let's see here. Let's be careful here. What is our capacity? Where did it go? Here it is. 1 worker for 8 hours. Okay, so that's going to be 8 times 60, and this is 2 times 8. Whoops. 2 times 8 times 2 times 60. In other words, this capacity here, this is going to be 8 times 60. That's 1 worker, but this is 2 workers times 2 times an 8-hour day. Is that correct? Yep. and then that's times 60. So there's our capacity. So this is our optimization now. Now, this is how you get the minimum cost. They're not asking for that, but they say if you, on the other hand, if you go to this technique of producing as much of the book cassette as possible, the book CD as possible, the combination. So basically you say, okay, let me take the capacity, divide by this to see how many book CDs can I make. That's my production of that variable. And once I have that production, I see how many of the book onlys I can make here. And that's what they're doing. But then I can compare that mix with the optimal mix down here. Down here. Increase in profits. And then compare the two. So when you do this, then what happens is you're going to probably come up with, well, let me show you. So if you solve this thing, I'll solve it graphically. I've solved it here. Let me get this formatted so I can pull it over. There we go. Full screen this thing. There we go. Okay, so the idea here, so here's the book only and here's the book cassette, and up here are the transformations, okay? Oh, and also your demand, you can't make more of the book only. Remember, the book cassette the book only, you can't make more of the book cassette than the book only. You can't just say, okay, well, the book cassette, I'm just going to make the book only. So in other words, there's this constraint here. Where's it at? Of right here. They require the number of the book cassettes to be no less than the book only product before packaging. So, so you can't zero out the book cassettes because they want to have those pretty much equal. So they want to sell the book, but they want to sell the book cassette as well. So the number of book cassette can be no less than the book only. So that can't be less. So the book cassette has to be greater than or equal to the book only. Okay. So let's bring this back in. And that's exactly what this constraint here is. So here's the minutes. Here's this. I solved it. I came up with this. Notice this is a 10,538 is the answer that I got. See if you can get the same answer. But then again, if I use all of the packaging resources for my book CD, and then what's ever left over, I package it, this point right here, which is 3680, 16800, for my book CD, my book only and my book CD, that point right there is the production mix they're operating at right now. Well, the optimal is down here. So what we need to tell them is not say, oh, well, your optimal mix is this. They're not asking that. They say, this is what we're doing, and the newer people, let's bring this back, the newer people are saying that propose a possible increase in profits by considering alternative production plans that still comply with the company constraints. A possible increase in profits with alternative production plans. Well, anything from this extreme point moving down to this extreme point, anything along this line here will increase your profits. Right? Right. So this is where they're at now, that point right there. This point here is, it goes up actually by $800 and some dollars, a little less than it, but it goes up by $780, not much, but it goes up. The idea here is that you can increase your profits moving in this direction, but then you're moving down this line. So it's not just there's your optimal solution. It says alternative plans, anything where you make, let's see, less of the book cassette and more of the book only as you begin doing that. Less of the book cassette, more of the book only. That will increase your profits. And there's a whole continuum there to where this company is comfortable in stopping. And it's likely they're not going to come all the way to here. They'll be somewhere in the middle in here where you'll make less of the book CD. I keep saying cassette. Less of the book CD and more of the book only, but they can't go less, but they can't go below, but somewhere in there. Right now, this is $36.80 and this is $16,800. Make less of this and more of this. There's going to be some place in here where they're comfortable. And you're proposing these different plans. You're explaining why, and maybe this one, 2 or 3 in here, and this one down here, and you say, these are the implications. Here's how you use here's how the profits are. Here's how you use your resources. Here's how you use your people, your money, your capacity, your departments, and just analyze it. Don't just say cost. As a matter of fact, I think I say that. I'm pretty sure I do say that. Whoops. Yeah. Please prepare a response memo to Ms. Burns presenting a comparative analysis of production plans and the underlying approaches for their next single production run within the constraints given. And so first of all, it's a comparative analysis of production plans, underlying approaches. And so there's your presentation in this memo. And it doesn't have to be a page, but it has to be very succinct. Here it is, here it is, here it is. And give them enough information where they know what you're saying. And don't say it blindly. Say, okay, here are the values, here's the production, here's this, here's the cost, here are the resources. Okay, let's go on. Be sure your response memo to Ms. Burns is suitable for discussion in their next planning meetings. So you can't say things and then walk away. You have to say things enough for them to discuss it. Give them some detail, give them some information. With succinct but adequate information, including order quantities. Here we go. Order quantities, I'm asking you to tell them that. How many books are you ordering? How many CDs are you ordering? Distribution amounts. How many book CDs are you distributing? How many book onlys are you distributing? So these are your resources. There's your products. And monetary values. I say monetary values. It could be profit. It could be cost. It could be cost of the products, cost of the resources. It could be prices, revenue. It could be anything. Okay. Prepare a separate technical memo to me outlining your detail of your analysis, including assumptions, procedures, and calculations. Prepare a video presentation to our internal analysis team presenting the results of the comparative analysis suitable for discussion within our company to fully understand the issues before. Notice this video is to our internal analysis team. So there's more technical. So you're saying exactly how you did it. So to the client, to Ms. Burns and the group, it's more presentation of here's what you need to know. But the video is going to be more technical. Okay, internal analysis, presenting the results of the comparative analysis suitable for discussion within our company to fully understand the issues before meeting with the company due to the previous heated arguments. So we as a group can answer it intelligently and be well informed. So you're informing the internal team on the issues. Okay, good problem. So again, use the Q&A. I got all this stuff open up. Let's pull it back down so I can see what's going on. Okay. Yeah, BC greater than BO, yes. So you're going to have up in here, like this right here, you're going to have, put it down here. You're going to have BC is going to be greater than book only. Whoops, book only, right? Okay, and so if everything is less than, we can just make it less than. And that way, we're going to have the book CD on this side and book only on this side. And so basically, I can, well, rearrange it. Let me just rearrange it and say book CD minus book only is greater than 0. Okay, but if I want it to be less than, then I'll have a minus book CD plus book only is less than 0. And the reason it's less than is because this constraint is going to be less than, this constraint is going to be less than, and then this one is going to be less than. So they're all the same. In other words, this will be a -1, this will be a +1, and this over here will be 0. And all of these are less than. See, this is a less than, this is a less than, and this is a less than. You know, this times this up here. Okay, hopefully that helps. Boom. Okay, hopefully that helps on how to use it and on how to formulate it, how to work it. And like I said, it should look something like this. And these are the answers that I get here. And so let's work it out. We're a team. So this is how you work it. So I worked it I did this just like homework, the homework number, the last question of the homework. And then down here, I just solved it here. And then I got these numbers here. Okay. Because most of this is, I'll work it here, and we worked it. You need to work it too, to use so you have the numbers to go for it. But then what's going to happen is you're going to have to write a report and do a video. Okay, it's going to be it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. So hopefully the quiz goes pretty straightforward. If you have any questions, then use the Q&A. Let's pull this back down, and I'll wait a little bit to see if there's any questions in the use this Q&A to go back and forth, share information, etc. Tomorrow night, Wednesday night, and Thursday night at 7 p.m. If you want to talk to me with Zoom, you can certainly talk to me. I will visit this discussion group and answer questions too. You can post your Excel spreadsheets. If you have questions, I can look at them. And so you have the Q&A with each other. You have the Zoom for me Wednesday night and Friday night at 7. We'll answer the questions as best I can and as thoroughly as I can. And so hopefully we have enough to put this aggregate planning together so we can get it, okay? I hope I've answered all these questions. If not, then I hope that you can answer them either into the Q&A here or ask them conversation with Zoom. Okay. Well, that's what I was going to do tonight. That's the plan for tonight. The questions were great. I think it was a good session. We covered a lot of ground. I have my marching orders here that you gave me. I've got to go through and change these answers, and somehow they got wrong. And I'll check Stanley question 3, and the other two I'll change question 11 and 12 on homework 2. And you'll see that here when we hang up. I'll change those 2 in homework 2. So you should see those regraded immediately. Okay. And there's a chat room for there's a delay for latent purposes so they can have a better connection. And so, sure, absolutely, Dana. I can certainly go over homework 3 next week if you want to. Homework 3. What's homework 3? Yes, I will post homework 3 by this weekend, and memo 3. And then next week we'll go over homework 3. I'll try to get this out here. I got quiz 3, and homework 3 is going to be similar to quiz 3, but homework 3 it's very similar to quiz 3, but it's going to be a scenario. In other words, I'm not just going to say do this, this, this. I got to say, oh, someone in the planning meeting said this, and respond to them. How would you do that? Well, you do this. So it's going to be more of a business scenario. And I'll post that, and we'll go over that next week and go over homework 3. Now, see, next week I'll be looking at inventory control theory, and then also be going over the homework 3. Homework 3 and, yeah, just homework 3. Yep. Good. And as I say, there's a latency and a delay here, and I'll wait for people to one last response here before we leave. If not, then I'll see you on Wednesday night and Thursday night at 7. Or I'll see you virtually here on the Q&A. I hope this works. I hope this works. You know, like people can answer each other's questions. So review this as you go through the week. And so it's very asynchronous. And I think it could be very valuable if we use it. And it doesn't matter how good it is if no one uses it. So let's try to make it good by using it. Do we have a midterm? Well, the syllabus, I don't deviate from the schedule in the syllabus. So the syllabus is whatever is the syllabus, that's the schedule. See, here's the syllabus. We're here. So this is the schedule. So this is where you know what the schedule is. And see, down here on May 4th is when I'll open up an exam review guide and a project instructions videos, 2 videos. And you can review them. But in this exam, I'll tell you there's the kind of questions I'll ask. Here's what I'm asking, what I'm not asking, and that kind of thing. So you'll have a good a way to study for the exam. But there's no reason to really get into that. It's just learn this material here and then right here. And notice the exam is over 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. Now these are so these right here are kind of like fundamentals. These are details of a little bit second layer, like a pyramid kind of thing. A second layer that's more application oriented. And these things are very, very practical and very useful and helpful. These 4 are foundational, and these are 4 more applied. Okay, but the exam is going to be over the foundations up here, and the individual projects, and we'll talk about those later. Okay, very, very good. That's all I have for tonight. I think it went well, and it went well. One, I covered everything. I think I did everything right. And I got marching orders to change the homework. And it went well because the questions were very, very good. I think they're good questions. First of all, any question is good if you need the answer. And repetition is not bad. I'll answer the same question over and over again to a point. But this repetition has been good, I think. So that's all I have for tonight. And so between now and the next time I see you, I want to urge everyone, don't take anything for granted out there. And be safe. Take care of yourself so that between now and the next time I see you,